Hello, Namaste, Sat Sri Akal, good evening. Welcome to the S.S.Chandhok Talk Show. We are here once again with a very important topic, glory of language learning. We have very eminent guests from different parts of the country. The first eminent guest present over here is Dr. Hemlata Murthy ma'am. She's a director and principal of WPS Group of Schools, Bangalore. Welcome, Hemlata ma'am. Uh,
Thank you,
before
sir.
before talking to you about your profile, we'll directly come to you and know from yourself that did you came into the profession by chance or by choice? And please let us know about your career starting as a teacher and as a director as of now.
It was not a chance, it was a choice because while ever I used to think that I had to become a person who would serve a society, I had this option as an alternate, not the first preference always. I made it a chance a choice. That is because I love children. I started my career teaching in MS Ramaya group of institutions where it was for medical students as well as non-medical students. It was both UG and PG. From there, my career started in such a way. I thought that let me try to indulge in a smaller vision of children getting explored to the society with challenging characters. Then only I came into the aspect of getting into the administration, that in college and school level. Now it has been almost 23 years past, and it has given me great rewards that this field has changed my vision, my focus, and it has made me tell that we can do anything and everything with children mindset and mentality.
Amazing, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am. Next
Thank
guest we
you.
have is Neeta Arora, ma'am. She's the principal of Shri Venkateshwar International School, Delhi. Although Neeta, ma'am, doesn't need an introduction, but still we have that, culture to talk about the principals. Ma'am is into this profession from last almost 4 decades, if I'm not wrong. And she's into the leadership from last 24 years. Rest, ma'am, we will like to know about you. Are you in this profession by chance or by choice? And from which school did you started your career as a teacher, and how did you came up to this level?
I am very much here by calling. I think it was destined for me to be a teacher. And if you ask me choice, yes, it was my choice to be a principal. At the age of 10 years, I had a dream that I will become a principal one day. And when I was a student myself, I used to teach an imaginary class every evening. And whenever I used to feel sleepy, my imaginary class would start studying biology from me. And I continued to, teach biology to imaginary students, ultimately became a bio teacher. And I started with a very small school, that time small, now it's become bigger, modern public school in Shalimar Bagh. For about 28 days, I taught there. And I did not apply. Our names were sent by Central Institute of Education, and they called 20 of us, and they selected me, and it was such a joy teaching those kids. Then I shifted, this is my 10th school, and I must say that every school has taught me something new about myself, my profession, the children, the parents, and the managements too. Because everywhere, though the kids are more or less same, parental aspiration more or less same, but the style of working with the management is so different that you learn to adapt and adopt and innovate. And ultimately, I say my employers never choose me, I chose my employers. And it's very, very true, because every time I change a school, I had 2 or 3 choices. And now when I am in this school, I feel that I have reached where I wanted to be, because this school allows not only me, but even the teachers to innovate a lot, experiment a lot. We don't live in any past practice. You may say I'm 40 years old, but I would say I am yet to arrive. There's so much more to learn in this life, that one lifetime will not be enough for me to learn everything. We cannot transfer everything that we know to the children. So for that to happen, for them to learn, they should also have this spark of being a lifelong learner. And that is what my greatest mission in this life is, to make children realize their worth and to be a lifelong learner.
Amazing, ma'am. Wonderful, ma'am. And who doesn't knows you, at least in Delhi NCR, Neeta Arora, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, and welcome, ma'am. And thank you for coming on the show once again. Next, we have a very pleasing personality, Shobha Das, ma'am, who is the pride of my city, Kanpur. And I'm also very proud that I'm associated with her. She has a very wonderful experience, she'll tell herself. But let me tell you, her school is of the many schools she's competing, that she closes the admissions so soon that you will not even rely on that. We see that how the school has risen up to this level when she came, and now what she has made it. Hats off to her. We welcome Shobha, ma'am. Welcome, and thank you so much for coming, ma'am. Ma'am, people will like to know about you. That
Okay.
again, how did you came here by chance, by choice, and from which school you started, and how did you reach over here? Over to you, ma'am.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Chandok, for such a beautiful introduction. And I really feel very proud to be sharing this platform with such experts in the field of education. This is the first time I'm here on this platform. And like you said in the beginning, like whether you just came into this profession by chance. Yes, I did come to this profession by chance, and I thank God with all my heart that it happened, because maybe in childhood, like ma'am said, from the age of 10 only she had understood that she had to become a teacher. Probably it was the same with me, because my favorite pastime would be to collect children in the neighborhood and teach them. Right. So my mother had that time proclaimed that this girl is going to become a teacher one day. But then my father, he had some other plans for me. And if you are a good student, then you end up choosing science in 11th and 12th. And that's how I went on to do my BSc honors in chemistry after that. And then of course, since he had bigger plans, he thought, no, I have to become a professional. Right. So I did my MBA from IMT Ghaziabad. And I did start working in at that time a renowned factory that was Escorts Limited. But then there were other plans probably destined for me. So I had to come down to Kanpur 3 years after my marriage, and with nothing to do, it was just, this teaching profession which fell into my lap, and I accepted. And finally, I felt so much at home. I felt, yes, this is where I should have been. Long time ago, I felt that I had wasted my time doing my MBA. Instead, I should have done my post-graduation and my B.Ed. So, everything had to take place after that. I did my master's in English literature after that, and I did my B.Ed also, so that I could, fit in myself well in this field of education. And then the journey has continued, starting as a primary teacher, then moving on to the middle section, then becoming a PGT English, and then finally I got this role of heading an institution. So this is my second institution as the head, and I am well now into my 13th year in this school, and every day brings in new learning opportunities, and and this is a place which allows you to be very creative. So it has been a wonderful experience all along, and I just hope to have such more experiences in times to come.
Amazing, ma'am, amazing. And I'm seeing you that you are giving challenges to so many big branded schools here in Kanpur also. Hats off to you, ma'am, and thank you, ma'am, and welcome, ma'am. Then we have Jyoti Arora, ma'am. She is the principal of Delhi World Public School, Noida Extension. Welcome, ma'am. Ma'am, please, will you please, instead of my speaking, will you please introduce yourself? As you know, you came into the profession by chance or by choice, and your journey as a teacher to a principal.
Yeah, I think I have been a part of this noble profession for around 30 years now. And I am a teacher by choice, because I am from a family of teachers. My mother retired as a teacher, and even my aunt. And I was so passionate about the fact that even as a child, I started teaching my brother. So I used to enact being a teacher. I always dreamt of being a teacher. And I started my journey from Bal Bharti, and then I moved to Amity Noida, and then eventually I took over as a principal. But I believe that when you belong to a noble profession, you can mold the children, and you play a very important role in shaping the destiny of the country also. So as Neeta ma'am also very rightly pointed out, that you can experiment, you can innovate, you can do anything as a teacher. So I've always worked. We have progressed a lot, especially during these 2.5 years. We have been into technology a lot, but I still believe it is the warmth, the human relationships, which bring a lot of change into the teaching class teaching and also the classroom aspect. I believe in innovation. I believe in experimentation, and no doubt, you get that free hand to do whatever you feel like. So we recently collaborated with Finland Education Hub also, because it is a concept which is very close to my heart, that you can teach from anywhere and anything and to any child. So, and it also changed my vision recently, because I've just got into the system that we as teachers, we are always considering that how the children, the new pedagogies, the new innovative pedagogies. But I think this system has taught me that we never think about a child. How is he going to revise the content? How is the child going to learn the content? So we have stepped into phenomenal based learning also, and thematic teaching also. So I think there is a lot to explore, especially after this pandemic, and definitely being a part of this wonderful show. Thank you, Mr. Chandhok.
Thank you, ma'am, and welcome over here for the coming also. Next, we have Dr. Chandkala Mishra, ma'am. She is the principal of Abhay International School, that is an ICSE school in Mumbai. She has an experience of more than 20 years in the field of education. She has worked as assistant professor in teaching training colleges, B.Ed and D.Ed for more than 8 years. And she came into the ICSE as an school. Please, ma'am, we'll come up to you. Please let us know again about yourself, ma'am. People should know, those who will be watching the episode, that how you have come over into from a B.Ed college to a ICSE school as a principal.
Good evening, all the respected people here. Sir, actually, my introduction will be very short in front of all the Diggaj people here. But I would like to introduce myself. Whether it is by chance or whether it is by choice, when you are destined to be a teacher, you will be a teacher. Whether you have degree, whether you don't have degree, your nature, your caring nature about others by default make you teacher. So being in joint family, my conservative in-laws, they were not allowing me to go for any other profession. So they told me to do B.Ed. So I said, okay, in spite of sitting at home, I'll do my B.Ed. And then when I continued my career, I felt this is the right place where I should have been. And then when I joined the D.Ed college and B.Ed college, I started teaching teachers. Somewhere I felt that the connection between the teacher and I is children. So I should better go to teaching field where I can directly approach the student, where I can directly work on the students. So after 8 years, again, I came back to my ICSE teaching career. I started teaching in ICSE school, promoted as a coordinator, vice principal, and then from last 5 years, I am working as a principal. Maybe very short experience, but very dhamakedar experience. Daily new challenges. Something to learn, something to introduce. And this pandemic has taught us many new things, that we can survive any situation if we are willing to, if we are determined to. We with very little facilities also, we can do wonder if we have right intention. And believe me, we prove that.
Yes, ma'am, because I also say that we principals are genies, that everybody, any stakeholder who is calling us, rubbing us and calling us with a smiling face, we are there and we are saying whatever you can say, we can do that. And these 2 years of pandemic, at least that has shown that we are actually genies with a smiling face always. Everything is possible. Thank you, ma'am.
No, we have to smile because we are the face for entire team who is working with us.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Accept challenge, our team fulfill that challenge together. So
yes, ma'am.
Very lucky to be in this profession, especially when we meet such prominent people. I feel really that I'm learning something new always.
Same to all of us, ma'am. We learn from each other, ma'am. Thank you so much and welcome, ma'am. Next, we have a very pleasing personality, that is Jaswinder sir, Jaswinder Singh. He is the founder and the CEO of a very lab known as Wordsworth Lab. Before introducing him, I must tell you that I met him in one of the show where we were co-speakers, and when I came to know about his, this lab, a wonderful thing he is doing for the education fraternity, I requested him, sir, please come for a few sessions, few episodes, and let us enlighten us as an expert about the language learning. But probably he's the ex-founder director of Design Mate, which is now a Reliance Group company, MD and CEO of Wordsworth English Language Lab System. He has an experience of 32 years in the field of education, successfully run two edtech companies. He has worked as a consultant to the government of Bahrain through UNESCO, advisor the government on the use of ICT in education, passionate edtech leader. Wordsworth is used by over 1 million learners annually through more than 3,000 schools and colleges. Now, much more than that. Launched the world's first Sanskrit language lab, also developed language lab for Hindi. Sir is based in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. We welcome you, sir. And
Thank you.
please, everybody will like to know that how did you came into this profession? I mean, this Wordsworth Lab, how it came to into your mind, and what is, and please tell something about Wordsworth Lab also, sir. Please.
Thank you, Chandhok, sir. Thank you for having me here. And good evening, all the principals. I actually am the only non-principal in this group, but I would like to share, I'm actually an electronics graduate, and I basically was into IT and IT coding and things like that. Around close to 20 years back, we ventured into, or 23 years back, ventured into creating content for math and science. And that's how I came into the education field, working with schools. And we basically started with IT training, creating content for maths and science. And when we were doing this training, and in Gujarat at that time, our current Prime Minister, Honorable Modi Sahab, was the Chief Minister of Gujarat. And one day we got a call, and he said, Jaswinder, your company has to train 100,000 people every year in English. That was a shock, a pleasant shock. We were already training the government employees for IT skills. They said, now you have to do this. Straight, no tender, no nothing. He called 3 companies and said, you do that. We were very happy. He said, we'll give you infrastructure, we'll give you everything. All you have to do is get your trainers and then start working on it. Very happy. We went in there to meet him. We signed the document. And last moment he says, there's one caveat. For every one center that you open up in urban Gujarat, you have to open up 2 centers in rural Gujarat. We said, okay, ye bhi ho jayega. But when we went into rural area, we realized teachers were not there. As it is, Gujarat had a lot of problems with language skills, and we were not able to find good teachers to teach English, even in tier 3 cities. I'm not talking about just rural. So what we had to do is you can't import a teacher. I keep telling schools, you have to develop your teachers. People, a teacher is not a person who will, shift from one city to the other city for a teaching job. So what we did was we realized that this is not going to happen. And, Modi ji is a taskmaster. Every Saturday we had to give them a report what is happening. So we thought, okay, let's do one thing. Let's create something which will help a normal teacher deliver better. And that is content. So that's how technology came in, and we were into technology. I had already created content for maths and science, which was actually licensed to Educom at that time. So we started working on it, and then the results were very good. But during this time, we realized that language is not something that you acquire when you're in college. You acquire it when you're in school. You have to start early, you have to start young. And that's where we started working with one school in a small town known as Halol. If you must have heard about General Motors, they have their factory there. This was a Gujarati medium school, and every year the students used to go and compete in the QCI, Quality Circle India, or Quality Council India, where it's in Lucknow that they do it every year. And these poor kids, though very intelligent, used to face a lot of issues while communicating in English. So we worked with them for 6 months, and the next session they did exceptionally well, and that's where I got confidence. And then we started working on to this. So this is the journey of Wordsworth Language Lab, and that's how we came into this. Though I'm actually a coder, I'm somebody who likes to do coding and do programming. But let me tell you one thing: language is such a thing that it can change a person. You actually can, you can fall in love with language. Language is music. Language can be a part, it can be a style of living. So what I realized, I've stopped doing coding, and I'm actually daily working with my team to actually go deeper and deeper into languages. It is not only English. Any person I meet, so if I meet somebody who is from the south, I'll try to pick up 2 words with that person. If there's somebody from the east, I'll try to speak in Bengali, because language connects you. So the glory of language, what you captioned today's session, that's apt, very apt. Language can glorify a relation, and that's what this world needs more. So relation building is what will work through the thing, and that's what we have into this today. Thank you.
Amazing, sir. Thank you so much. We'll like to know further after the later part of the session. We'll come up to the next round, which I won't call as a question round, but it will be a session round. We'll come up to Hemlata ma'am first. Hemlata ma'am, according to you, what is the significance of language learning in one's life? Ma'am, you're on mute.
Sorry. Language is one form where it puts us as a connection between one person to another. So it could be any format of language, the expression, their talk, their way they try to connect people or connect between each one of us. Language plays a major role. It builds a faith in us. It also makes us to express the feelings. It makes us to express our thoughts. It makes us to tell what is the creativity that is there. It's not that one particular language, a foreign language or our own different types of languages which are there. We have almost more than 1,000+ languages being spoken here in our country. Each language has its own cultural respect, which we can understand for. We can also try to see to that the connectivity of people between them, the bondage that is there. All this is the things which can happen with the mode of language. It also makes us develop. It also makes us try to tell what is that expression that is hidden within us. So without, as it is being told by you itself, a glory of language. The glory of language is to express, to tell, to make others understand the beauty inside that. Whichever is the language. See, while ever, see, like as sir was trying to tell, while ever I meet South people, even while ever I meet North, because I started my career in Ramaya College. It was a linguistic place where I had a lot of Bengalis as well as UP people. I had to speak to them in such a way, they made me learn that language. So it's like that. It's a vice versa. I speak to them in Kannada, they spoke to me in Bengali. So a few things happened in such a way that it made us connect. The bondage built in within us is going on till today. So I try to tell that language can make us do anything, tell us anything, and also it gives the reflection of our own character. Also makes us tell that it is the inner side that is making us express outside. So this is how
Amazing.
I want to give an expression
Amazing.
forward.
Amazing, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Amazing. We'll come up to Neeta Arora, ma'am. Ma'am, your views that what is the significance or glory of language learning?
Apart from the love for the language that all the panelists feel, I would say as an educationist, language is the backbone of all learning. You cannot learn any subject unless you know the language, whichever language you're learning that subject in. So this is about learning to learn. Language itself is about communicating. Language is expression, like language is expressive. Language is informative. You're sharing information through language. You're preserving information through language. The history is all based on some sort of literature or language. Then language is directive. And if you're telling me to answer, not a third person, so you communicated to me, you directed me to answer your question, and I put my thoughts together and expressed my not only information that I have at my command, I also express my feelings. So language makes you express, and therein when Jaswinder Singh talks like a poet, that the love for the language is deep rooted in all human beings. It's not about just communication alone, because even without a language, you can communicate. Body language, the child knows how to communicate his feelings or expressions to the mother without even learning the language. So language is much more than just communicating. And for an educationist, if supposing most of the Indian schools are now, I mean, they were after the Britishers left, this is what they left, that we learn in a foreign language. So for us to learn English became the need. And now Indians are respected all over the world because they have a better command over language, especially English, than many others. But at the same time, if mother tongue is getting sidetracked or is getting sidelined, then there's something wrong with the way we are learning or teaching our children. The parents have to realize that it is important for the children to learn mother tongue. Those kids are lucky who have parents speaking 2 languages already at home. So they learn 2 languages. A third language, if it's supposing they're in a different state, they learn the language of the majority of people of the state. And 4th is the language in which they're taught. So they're learning 3 or 4 languages. And club with it, a foreign language that many schools offer. So, I mean, a child may learn 5 languages by the time the child is out of the school. I'm very right to suggest with themselves that language labs are much needed in schools for two reasons. One, we're learning a foreign language, so maybe we're very good at vocabulary and contextual and even reading between the lines. But when it comes to pronunciation, diction, I mean, we may make a fool of ourselves because it is said and seen that a lot of people make fun of others' language, not because of the language being correct, because the way it is spoken. So there's a lot of regional dialects. Hindi, यूपी वाले अलग तरह से बोलते हैं, बेंगलोर वाले अलग तरह से बोलेंगे, साउथ वालों को जेंडर की प्रॉब्लम हो जाती है तो पानी खाता है और जल पीती है. I mean, even in Bangla. So, but when we are doing it through a language lab where a native speaker is teaching you how to speak that language, even in English, there's so many dictions that it is very important for us to bring in, I mean, not only technology, but also people who are native to that language, and you learn it from the actual speakers, nothing like it. If you cannot bring them to your school, it's very expensive to bring them, so you bring a language lab. Or
Yes.
if not language lab, then you hire a teacher or you train your teachers well. And to tell you very frankly, in our school, for first 6 months, a nursery child is just allowed to communicate, think, communicate, allowed to think. On an average, a teacher does not allow the children to think. She asks the question, or he asks the question, and the child has to answer immediately. And the children are trained, you know. Even before the question is complete, half the class will raise his hand. And when the question is completed, 25% hands will go down. So I just thought it's fastest fingers first. So language is not about being able to speak. It is about coherently express your thoughts after analyzing the question or the statement. And so language is so important. It connects to your heart. It wires you to your brain. I mean, it is like, it completes my human cycle. I'm not a human being if I can't express or feel. And language makes me express that feeling. If I tell my husband I love you, and he reads that in my eyes too, he knows that I'm speaking the truth. But if he doesn't read it in my eyes and simply say it, he will not believe me. But if he reads that expression in my eyes, and even if I don't speak, he will be very happy. If we combine the two, heart and mind, the best. And that is what the teachers do in classes. They tell a child, I love you, child, and together we'll go on this path of learning. The child will trust this teacher, hold her hand and walk.
Absolutely right, ma'am. Perfect, perfect. And you're perfectly saying right that this is the base. This language learning is the base. Thank you, ma'am. We'll come up to Shobha, ma'am. Shobha, ma'am, as already Neeta, ma'am, said that this is the base, this is a root. If language learning is not there, nothing will be over there. We are running towards all the schools are running towards the subjects, that all these subjects should go on English, Hindi, and computers and everything. But we are not working on language learning. And this is the biggest challenge in the schools. So do you believe that language learning should be given importance in curriculum?
Oh, yes, definitely. I strongly feel that language learning should be given supreme importance in the curriculum. After all the learning that takes place in the entire journey of education takes place in a language which we call the first language. So no doubt that the National Education Policy 2020 stresses on foundational literacy, which implies that a child should develop the very basic reading, writing, listening, and speaking skills by grade 3 in the first language. And actually, all the other subjects, like ma'am said, are subsets of language learning, as if there are gaps in language learning, serious gaps are created in the other subjects. Like the students may be able to do calculations in mathematics, but they cannot comprehend the word problems. And if you go beyond that to more complex concepts like percentage, profit and loss, mensuration, probability, then they are totally at a loss. And so it is with the social sciences, where language comprehension and the correct presentation are so very important. And if you talk about the sciences, they need to assimilate the concepts, then they need to analyze and synthesize the concepts, which is impossible in the absence of proper language, right? So the whole learning experience becomes a burden for the children. If the language is not given due importance in the curriculum, it should be a joyful experience for the students. And Furthermore, like ma'am said, that they need to express their thoughts, their imagination, their ideas all the time, where the language skills are so very important. They need to know the correct syntax, the correct language structures. They should know where the use of tenses properly, and they should have a sound vocabulary at hand to be able to express themselves. Then thirdly, the language skills definitely help in building an overall personality. Today, we want confident people, we want assertive individuals, and in the absence of proper language skills, this is just not possible. The two very important 21st century skills which are being talked about, communication and collaboration, both the skills hinge on language learning. So language learning is pivotal, absolutely pivotal, and it stands as the protagonist in the script of education, I think. So it should be a very,
Yes.
very important part of our curriculum.
Thank you so much. Amazing, ma'am. Amazing thoughts you have. And this is what you are trying to implement in your schools also. That is why the school is doing so wonderful under your leadership, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Very, very kind of you.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll come up to Jyoti ma'am now. Jyoti ma'am, your views on this, that should language learning be given importance in curriculum?
Yeah, I think absolutely. As everyone has pointed this, that as sir also started, Jaswinder said, sir said, started that it is like music, and it is very important that we start young. So I think today I'll just narrate a small anecdote. Today we had parents in a school and nursery parents, and the first question when they came to me, the first question was that are the children well versed in English? Then that's how they started, because these are also millennial parents. So language, it is very important because the parents are also wanting to know. And we are talking about language. It is not only about the English language or the mother tongue or Hindi. And definitely all of us, we have schools, all of us have German, Spanish, French, because these languages have also taken over. And with the freedom which has been given to the schools, I think it is very important from sixth, as it is that we have a 3-language policy. So looking at the demand by some of the parents, I would like to share that we started German this year, even with pre-primary. And we found that results have been so good with pre-primary and primary. They're better off than middle school and senior school also. So that's why when Mr. Jaswinder said that it's important that we started young, that is how we could see. And the parents were so happy, and they said the best thing about that we are able to relate with your school is the introduction of so many languages. But we do teach Hindi and Sanskrit also. We do have Havans also in our school. So I think at a young age, definitely we have been talking about language, and no doubt it is a vehicle where we could present our ideas, our thought processes, our emotions, and also we could express our opinions also. Like all of us are expressing our opinions about different things right now also. There are other aspects also. I think it becomes very important to introduce it into the curriculum, because it also improves your listening skills. We also listen to each other. The concentration span also, it enhances. And also we were talking, like one of the my colleague pointed out that about the 21st century skills. So when we are talking about critical thinking or communication skills or collaboration, so I think it becomes imperative that it becomes a very, very important part of a school curriculum. And definitely if you could express yourself very well, you could articulate things very well, definitely you are in sync with 21st century skills, which these millennial parents also point out. And definitely if the language, the command over the language, or the learning skills or the listening skills, the concentration span is high, the academic achievement is also enhanced. And also we find that the cognitive development is also it reaches to a greater height. So definitely we are able to relate with our environment. Children understand, because these are the formative stage. Even when you talk about the pre-primary stage, we say that 85% of the brain development, it occurs by the age of 6. So if you are able to give them a lot of exposure, definitely you will find that these children will be able to adjust well in life. So definitely it has to be a part of curriculum. And rather, because I think most of my colleagues must be facing this, that parents are very keen, the child comes in nursery, but command over the language, they're able to speak English. But if you start telling them that at this age they can learn multiple languages, it also, that this, of course, English language, everybody, we all know that it is important. But I think if the importance of all the languages is explained to them very well, then the I will say the vision of everyone changes, and we'll be able to give them a bouquet of languages. So definitely it is a very, very important part of our school curriculum, and it is the backbone of any school. Thank you, sir.
Wonderful, wonderful, ma'am. So for communication, it is needed, as well as for the all-round development also. Language learning is very important according to you. We'll come up to Chandrakala ma'am. Ma'am, we want to know your views on the saying that students of present era have become smarter and they know the extensive use of technology, especially after these 2 years of pandemic. Ma'am, you're on mute.
Chandhok ji, they may be very smart with the technology, but again, they are missing the communication. They are missing the expression, because in this 2 year, they have learned to do mute and unmute. But the expression part, the communication part, the part where they can have a mischievous talk with their friends, the classroom noises, that all is missing. As it is said, that language is dress of thought. It is a culture, a roadmap. So that all is missing. So when my student came back in the month of January, the first thing I told my teacher, allow them to speak. We can reduce few chapters. We can skip few chapters, but again, let them speak, let them communicate, let them express, let them write. Because notes were ready-made, so parents were bringing printout. So their writing skill is also missing. Language plays very important role. Technology cannot take anything from teacher and from student. Technology can just supplement that. So students may be techno smart, but they are not expression smart. So when they come to school, school gives them the passage to express themselves. Parents are there, but they are too busy to listen to their kid, because they all are again busy with the technology. We are at home also working, we are busy with our mobile, we are busy with our expression with our friends. हमारे life के complaints चल रहे हैं, बच्चों को सुनने के लिए कोई नहीं है. So when we met our parents in parent orientation, the first thing they said, मैम वो हमारा नहीं सुनते, आपका सुनते हैं. तो हमारा इसीलिए सुनते हैं क्योंकि हम उनका सुनते हैं. So when we talk about language, listening is the first skill. When we listen, then they are speaking, then they are reading, and then they are writing. So this LSRW is very important process for any language. So definitely technology will help us to be better, but again, it is a supplement. One-to-one communication, group communication, expression, open platform to communicate. Communication is very important when you want a very, you can say, mature citizen to be given to the next society. So they should be full of expression, right expression, with good command over language, good vocab, where they can use the satire language, where they are able to comment on others with thoughts, where they are able to use the figures of speech in their communication. आजा, बैठ जा, उठ जा, इस लैंग्वेज के अलावा भी अगर वो इस तरह की भाषा का प्रयोग कर सकते हैं जहां पर कि उनकी भावाव्यक्ति बहुत उत्तम तरीके से होती है. जैसे कि मेरा हिंदी पर प्रभुत्व अच्छा है. मे बी आई एम प्रिंसिपल इन इंग्लिश मीडियम स्कूल, बट आई फील कि whenever I feel like writing, I write in Hindi. And what I feel that current generation kids, they are neither good in Hindi, neither good in English, neither good in any language. Why? Because they are learning cocktail language. They just want to learn fast, just to express, just to finish.
Yes, absolutely right, ma'am, Chandrakala ma'am, because when we talk about language learning, it's not only about, English only.
Yes.
It's about any language in which you are dealing or you're studying, whatever you're doing. That is why it has come in an EP also. In any language a child has to be taught. Thank you so much, ma'am. We'll come up to Jaswinder sir. Sir, as first of all, as an expert of language learning, please tell about what all the principals said right now. And please also let us know that how, as a tool, this lab is helping the teachers as well as the students.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, if I pick up things for what my senior panelists, all the principal and the ladies have said, one very important thing is the more language you speak, the more smarter you are. It is not that people will think that you're smart, but you see, we have got neurons which connect each other in the brain. If you speak multiple languages, they work better and you become, your critical thinking becomes better. So the first step to critical thinking is to give them multiple languages. One. Second is, it is said, it is proved that till the age of 8, a child can acquire up to 5 languages. NEP 2020 talks about 3. That's a great thing to do. Okay, rightly said by ma'am earlier that we should, if we speak a language, we should try to improve our language skills. You can start picking up, and then you have to, first is, language, you start using it, then you start polishing your language, which is very important because that is what makes you a person. One very important thing which was also taken up, that language is what makes us humans. See, understand the difference between Homo sapiens and the human is language. They used to walk on 2 legs, we walk on 2 legs. They had the brains, we had the brain. But during the evolution from a Homo sapien to a human, the language is what has brought us to what we are. But a word of caution here. Today, the major problem in the world is also language. Meri language, Teri language. Let's look at India. So many languages we still can or are able to live together because we respect the other's language. Speak your language, respect the other's language, and then the whole world is open to you. So that's a very, very important thing. If we are able to see to it that our students acquire multiple languages and start becoming good at those languages, things are going to work out. Now, if I club this to the other question, how would technology do that? Okay, let's understand. Not everybody knows all the language. You can't have 5 language teachers, in your school, but you can have a teacher who can use tools to deliver multiple languages, right? I can give you a simple example. We started working with Sanskrit as a language, and we made it in such a way that even the Hindi teacher can deliver Sanskrit, right? Sanskrit itna difficult nahi hai. It was made that way. Similar, English is not difficult. Let me tell you why English is the way it is in India. When the Britishers were here in India, they did not want English to be a language of common people. They want only the elite class to know that. That is why they got the grammar concept put into that. टुडे आप और मैं जब हिंदी में बात करते हैं, हमने हिंदी का व्याकरण कितना आता है, एक्सेप्ट शोभा मैम, सॉरी चंद्रकला मैम, बिकॉज आपको हिंदी का तो है, लेकिन हम लोग हिंदी में बात करते हैं, एक भी गलती नहीं होती, लेकिन व्याकरण का वह भी नहीं आता. So what I'm saying is that if language is acquired in a natural way, you need not worry and you can acquire n number of language. You know, our company's name is Wordsworth. We got the name from William Wordsworth. He said once, language is not the property of the rich and the elite. It is owned by the common people. Every person should be able to communicate in multiple languages. And that is how we will bring in more harmony, we'll bring in more smartness, and we will bring in more acceptance. That is there. Coming to technology, how does it help a teacher deliver? Simple. Not everybody is great in each of the languages. Or let's talk about English, because we deliver the way we were taught. Okay, so it has been coming, and as it comes from top to down, it gets diluted. So with tools, what you do is you actually are able to sharpen your own language skills. You're shown how to deliver it, and that's how teachers deliver better. Second, language means more communication. Language means more talking to each other. Now, in a teacher, if you have a 40-minute session and if you've got 40 students, you got effectively 1 minute for each child. That is not enough. So what language does is it, mirror images a teacher into 40 teachers. And there are 40 teachers talking to 40 students, and that is how they get more exposure. You cannot acquire a language without communicating with somebody, right? And if your teacher can't communicate with you for more than 1 minute a day, that is not going to be enough. So what technology does is enables one teacher to be 40 teachers. It enables students to actually listen to the correct thing and then speak the correct thing. Like rightly said, you have to start with listening. Then you go to speaking, reading, and writing. So if you listen correct, you speak correct. And one very important thing, language is always acquired through imitation and repetition. You have to listen to something proper. You try to copy that. You have to be a parrot. You copy that and then you speak that multiple times. Now, a teacher may not be able to give you that much time, but technology, with the help of a teacher, we call blend. You know, it's not just technology. The teacher's there, but the teacher mirrors herself into multiple teachers and allows each child to feel that I am with my teacher. That's one. Second, languages are not always rules. Yes, there are rules, but there are techniques. Okay, so what language learning solutions can do is deliver those techniques to them, give them the right kind of lesson plans, see to it that it is delivered. Not only that, also lets you know whether a child has actually acquired the skill that you're trying to give. Okay, language assessment is very important. And that assessment is not how much do you know, it is how much do you need to know. It is assessment for learning. So technology helps one teacher be multiple teachers and get everything in one, and so that the teacher can know where exactly I need to do and allows them to do what they do best is teach. Rest everything is taken up. So basically, technology based learning is a tool which is used by a teacher to deliver better. It's a tool to use by the student to practice more, period. It is not rocket science. It is the right thing in the right way, in the right hands, done in the right way. That's what it is. It is just a tool, and we should use it as a tool. We should not remove the teacher component, because language again is from the heart. It is not from the brain. Language is never from the brain. So something which has to come from the heart cannot come from a computer. The teacher component is important. So that's, I would say, it should be balanced properly, and it can deliver, it is delivering. And we are so happy that a lot of people have started gaining confidence, which is one important thing. Sometimes we are able to communicate, but we think, अरे लोग क्या बोलेंगे, मैंने गलत कर दिया, मुझे पता नहीं ठीक है कि नहीं, and then we don't speak. And when we don't speak, we are taken as dumb. No. So it gives a platform. So that's how I would sum it up.
Thank you so much, sir. Such an effective, information we are given to all of us. Thank you so much. We'll come up to the next round now, and the first question will be for Neeta ma'am. Neeta ma'am, what are your comments on the saying that technology plays an important role in language learning?
Technology. What is technology? Is it only when we use a computer chip or a program or a code, this is technology? Or if a child is listening to music over any device, that is also a role of technology in his life? So first of all, technology had been and will always remain a very important source of learning for all children across all economic status groups. The mother sings a lullaby, the child listens to it over a device. Where the radio had always been there. I mean, till the time, from the time that I recall, even my grandparents' time. So children have been listening to music, to news, to articles, to discussion. Then TV came into the being, then smartphones came into being. Now they have a laptop, they have device. And on those devices, if you have certain things which are apt for language learning, so what it does in the hand of a teacher, it gives the teacher a lot of strategies, different kind of strategy to reach out to children. It makes a classroom environment more interesting, more, I would say, empowering for the teacher as well as for the child. It makes adaptive learning possible. Children can learn at their own pace, because in a normal classroom, all children do not learn at the same pace or speed. Some children think differently. Some children write beautifully. Some children speak beautifully, but they can't write. So it can lead to LSRW problem for different group of children, but technologically embedded curriculum would definitely lead to the child being able to work on whatever the child needs. Then it aids in reading skills, sight reading, say for example, and then it has brought the real world into a classroom. Say for example, I was earlier also talking about that if you have to learn the correct diction, please talk to the native speakers. You cannot bring them to your class, but technology can bring them to your class. You can have radio podcasts, you can have simple recorded lessons, or you can have a language lab. It's not necessary for you to have only a language lab to say, oh, we are using technology. You had been using technology in your classroom, maybe you're not familiar. Everybody has been using. When we record a child's recording, CBSE has ASL, Assessment of Speaking and Learning Skills. That is all language based. And if I was putting emoticons to express my feelings for whatever my friends here on the panel were speaking, I was communicating through art. I was integrating art technology into my language because I didn't want to interrupt their flow of thoughts or speaking. So technology had always been there. It is going to aid, and it is not like something like screen time problem. No, you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to, discussions or talks by keeping your eyes closed, also worried about the impact. And whenever we feel like, you can go back to reading online. Or the only thing is, there is a but here. Technology should not take away the joy of reading an actual textbook. So that is where the school principal's role come into being. She or he must make sure that the children get enough reading material in the classrooms. Each class should have a very rich reservoir of library. Children should also have a good collection of books. Parents should be advised to buy more books on their birthdays, Diwali, Dussehra, Christmas, whatever the important festivals of their city or town is. And books, each school or each class should have enough library. I mean, houses should have children's collection of books, age-wise. When I was 3 years old, this was my collection. 4-year-old, I added this. So children should take pride in the book collection than in material things. And then if you club it with technology, it is amazing. I would like to talk to Chandralekha ma'am. When she says, वो हिंदी में उनका प्रभुत्व बहुत अच्छा है, सुन के इतना अच्छा लगा,
yes.
प्यारा लगा मुझे. लेकिन यहाँ मैं थोड़ा सा आपसे डिसएग्री भी करना चाहूंगी कि हमारे बच्चे कहीं के भी नहीं है. Believe me, you meet my students from grade 9 onwards, they speak better English than I do. You talk to my 8, 9 children that speak better Hindi than I do, and mine is pretty good. And they speak better than I do. Most of them. It's because we have faith in them. It's because my Hindi teacher speaks only in Hindi in her classes. She's not allowed to use English while she's teaching. And same way, my English teacher is not allowed to use Hindi while she's teaching. All other subjects, you can be bilingual. Because idea is to communicate. The idea is for children to be able to coherently communicate what they've understood. But in exam, they will write in the medium of expression. If it is a French class, the French teacher will try to speak as much as possible in French. She'll dramatize the French for them to understand. And Spanish class, the Spanish teacher will do the same. But yes, you are teaching a language through another medium, because I read somewhere and I've seen the CBSE Sanskrit papers are translated in both English and Hindi. So I realized in my school, we teach Sanskrit through the medium of Hindi, but in South, Sanskrit is also taught through the medium of English, and it's doable, possible. You can learn any language through another medium. And this is where we score high in India, because we have learned English, so we can learn any other foreign language, because most of the translations or language learning softwares are either, that language translated into English. You may say English is a universal language of the world somewhere, because there were so many nations which were under the umbrella of British Empire, Commonwealth nations. So it becomes very easy for us to connect to the rest of the global citizens. And I know whenever our students go out and they speak better English than Europeans, they say, how could you learn so well? Oh, our system of education is so strong. And there we take pride in a system of education. It's not that our children are nowhere. They are very much there, the world citizens.
Amazing, amazing, wonderful, wonderful. We'll come up to Hamlata ma'am again. Ma'am, according to you, does technology play an important role in language learning?
Definitely, sir. Because technology is a boon for us to make it as an implementation for learning language. See, it might be a tool, but while we want, like all of us are trying to tell, there is a versatile language being spoken, language being said or taught in the classes. As Neeta ma'am was trying to tell, we make the teachers to talk in their own particular language. But in a tool or a kit or a gadget being given along with that, maybe it cannot express, but it will improvise the quantity and quality of our mindset that we will have to reach the kids. See, in our schools also, we don't mind in making teacher and student talk in the particular language while the language class is going on. One of the principal ma'am was trying to tell Spanish being taught or called as even French being taught. All this can be taught in a beautiful way if added with technology that will make the world better. We know that each parent is right now with the gadget, each child is with the gadget, but how the gadget to be utilized? Because language is a universal space of expressing things, Why don't we try to use the gadget also along with that? Because we are talking about artificial intelligence, robotics, everything is going on. Add it with a language, we need to see to that it becomes one masterpiece for communicating and helping the child to understand even more better. So technology is a boon, definitely. It makes us think better, it makes us act better, and gives us thinking. But might be, we might think it might be a bane, but it is not that. Input would always be better while we try to think more in the right ways.
Amazing, ma'am. And I also, agree with the technology is very important for the kids of this present era, 21st century, because we see that children, they are not able to put up questions in the class because they feel
Yes.
that if I'm asking a question, the others will make fun of me, that you're not able to understand this much only. So this is the way the students are not able to express themselves. They are not able to ask questions because I'll get insulted in the class by the others, by the peer pressure is there. But
Yeah,
when they're,
yes. We tell 40 students in a class, 1 minute as well. Sir was trying to tell. The
yeah,
child would come to the process, but would not be in the verge of
yes,
expressing.
at
This
the very
this
same time,
happens.
yeah, at the very same time, when the teacher goes into the class and says, ask any question and anybody answers, and if the answer of the teacher is no, you are wrong, so there the four others who are ready to answer for a question, they won't put their hand up because already
Right.
you have given the negativity about that. So the thing is, there are many reasons why the children won't ask the questions, will like to not like to give the answers in the class due to this peer pressure that they'll make fun of me.
Yeah,
But at the very same technology helps because at his leisure 24 into 7, whenever the child is in a good mood to study, he can take up this app and then they can, look into that and they can understand where you are wrong or where you are right. You can correct yourself because I think the AI in that particular apps and all, they tell that where you are right and where you are wrong. He
right
corrects
and wrong.
himself. He brings it up to the level of the class. When he comes up to the next day into the class, he is up to the mark with other kids are. Because every child is, have the same brain, but they are getting different marks just because the route we are not working in the school. That is what we call language learning. Thank you.
Language.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amrita ma'am. Thank you so much. Then now next we'll come up to Shobha ma'am. Shobha ma'am, every child is born with different ability. How can we recognize the potential of each child according to you?
Uh, First of all, I think that we need to see the children as flowers of different colors in our garden, and some shades may, be a little light. The onus lies on us, on educators, to identify each shade and give it the shine that it deserves. So we all have a calendar of activities for the school, and I think it would be a good idea to organize various activities as competitions in the classroom scenario, wherein the class teachers, just the class teacher and maybe a subject teacher, they organize a plethora of activities for them, maybe for art, music, dance, creative writing, mental math, science models, elocution, etc. When it is just a classroom as a platform, then the children don't hesitate. They can come up freely and confidently present whatever talent they possess. So that would be one way of identifying the potential of each child. And the sports teachers, when we have the regular sports teachers, the children play different sports. So each time they play a sport, it should be organized as a competition where they give points to the different teams or to the different individuals in the different matches. So there again, the potential of the children, the aptitude of the children in various sports can really come out. And I remember my own experience of where I used to think that I am no good at sports at all, but it so happened and that when we were having athletics in our school and there was nobody to go for a short put, and they told me that now you have to do it, there's nobody else in the house, and they just gave it in my hand, and I just saw how the others were throwing, and I too stood in that circle, and I just threw that shot put, and it landed farther than the others. And that was how in class 9 I came to understand that okay, I can do this. And then I went on to win at the district level. So why not start early for children? Let their talent be identified in different ways. Now, self-awareness has become a very important concept in education today. So let the children become self-aware. We can have different formats for different classes wherein they can write what interests them really. This was never done earlier. What are our real interests? We were never allowed, or we were never given opportunities to even know ourselves well. But now we know that this is something very important, so the children can be made to write what their own interest is, and the educators, they can help them, they can groom them and guide them properly so that they are able to compete well. Then as we are discussing the glory of English language, I think all the English teachers, they should do this in their classes, that they can identify the different aptitude that they have in languages. Like some may be very good with vocabulary, some may be very good speakers, some may be able to compose poems. So they can have groups, of word weavers, groups of poets, groups of eloquent speakers, storytellers, avid readers. That way each one's aptitude for learning, can be enhanced. So this is what I feel can be very well done. And of course, I'm sure others have their own ideas to share with.
Wonderful, ma'am. Wonderful. Thank you so much, ma'am. Jyoti, ma'am, your views, how can we recognize the potential of a child?
I think it has been so interesting listening to everyone's beautiful thought processes that have been put forward. Definitely, I think as educators, and we are teachers first, it is very important to identify the hidden potential of each student. We all talk about student-centered learning, all of us. But it is actually how we implement it. We all have been talking and discussing about it, but we have to be honest about it, when we are implementing it. And definitely, when we talk about student-centered learning, it is more of choice and environment that is created by the students, and also when we give them a lot of autonomy. In a school, because it is the beginning of the session, so I think this question is very relevant at this time. So whenever you start, it is after we are obviously the students are coming in full swing after 2.5 years. And here, we've started with familiarization sessions. So initially for a week, we didn't teach anything to the children because we wanted them to get into pottery, music. Then we also had greet and treat sessions where they had small parties. Of course, they are not sharing because of the pandemic protocols, but all of them started telling about them. Then they wrote a pen picture about them, what do they want to do in life, and what are they very good at. So many of the children who have come in class 1, we haven't met them. So I think that was the first thing we started with the first week. And after that, a circle time is a very important part, because circle time in the morning, two important things which are very close to my heart is the circle time, where the children are able to share about themselves, what they like to do. And also the zero period concept in a school. Zero period is where you give them the freedom, because see, if you want the children, if you want the hidden potential to come out, you have to give them that platform. You have to give them that plethora of activities where they could come out. So initially zero period, whether it is sports or it is music or it is painting, then gradually after this process, because this is still in the month of April, this is going on, and we will find, I'll not say May, but by July, because you give them that kind of holidays homework also, you give them collaborative activities also. And when you give them the project work, it is important because you're able to identify which child will be good with writing skills or painting skills or making the project work. And we have what we do is after April and May, we normally have it in the month of July. We have the International Education Week where we learn about different countries. And when you are learning about include your country and also other countries, each child gets, you give them a choice that you do whatever you want to do. And this problem, at times, initially, I remember as a child, whenever a group was allotted, most of the parents, they feel that my child has done the maximum work. The other children did not even pick up the phone call. I think it happened. But now when you give them a choice that you do whatever interests you more to be a function, if you feel the children are very shy, they came out with a lovely backdrop for an annual day also. So I think it is giving them that exposure, giving them those open-ended questions, and also you give them group projects and you let them reflect. I think it is important to listen to the children also. And definitely, if you are able to convert all the spaces as, the learning spaces, it shouldn't be that it is only in the classroom you are able to identify. I think you can identify when you are selecting students for the school prefectorial board, you're able to find out their potential. If you give them some kind of duties to perform, whether it's in the sports field or whether it is in the classroom, maybe a the child who is switching off the fans also he has a very important role to play, so we make them as green captains. So it is
Right.
actually all the spaces, they are converted into learning spaces. So I
So,
think this is what I have to say, to identify and know each child well.
so in
Thank
one line, Jyoti ma'am, we can say whatever you said, that every child should be given importance
Yes.
according to his or her caliber.
Yeah.
And there
Yes.
you will see the result. They are doing very well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
And sir, I always tell my teachers that they are the apples of the eyes of their parents.
Yeah.
And the apples are always sweet for the parents.
Yeah. For us also, ma'am, when they're inside the
Yes,
school,
yes,
they are our apples, they are our students, they are our kids.
yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We'll come up to Chandrakala, ma'am. Ma'am, if the teachers do not become smarter, it is saying, then because during this pandemic, they have become very smart. The Google Baba and all, and how did they give exams online and everything, they have become so smarter. So we say that if the teachers do not become smarter than their students, then the role of the teacher will vanish. Give some suggestions to improve the role of a teacher.
Chandok ji, role of teacher will never vanish, provided they should be keen learner, adaptable, and always one step ahead of their kids. Kids, they don't want smart teacher. They want passionate, understanding, and keen listener. Because definitely, I am going to teach from my book. I am going to give my knowledge because I have to prepare that part. But again, how much I am interested in teaching that part, how much knowledge I have gathered about that thing, it is very important. By means of smart teacher, yes, I can say they have to continuously enhance their skills as per the requirement. As the pandemic came, all started making PPTs, all started taking online classes, all started catching students that they are scratching on my board and who is doing what behind, who is watching YouTube video and who is not listening to me. So these all are the smartness which are inborn, but due to pandemic, it came out. Yes, but teachers should be try to develop themselves by attending professional courses, by learning new technologies, by enhancing their knowledge, by upgrading the studies. See, one or the other, I feel that even I, now also it is compulsory for me to every year take admission in one or the other course. Why? Just to add the degree? No. Because anyways, we are just going to learn that particular subject and knowledge will definitely increase. Teachers are smart and students love them, but to be more smarter, be always adaptable, be always learner, and always learn your old knowledge and learn the new knowledge as per the requirement of the current students. Because nowadays students are very smart. Google Baba is giving everything.
That is what I was saying, Chandrakala ma'am. This question came into my mind because when online classes were going on and the old way, traditional way the teachers were teaching, the students were not taking the online classes with the cameras off. And when the parents were saying that, why are you not studying? So they were saying that I'm not able to understand what she's teaching. I will look into the YouTube and about that topic from another teacher. So here, the role of the teacher was going down because the teachers have to give. Of course, technology is a help, but at the very same time, if the teachers are not giving what they need, because children, if you are not giving them, our time was old time that we were feared of the teachers, and whatever the teacher was teaching, she was right. But the students of this present era, 21st century, they don't accept everything. If the teacher is giving them, they will keep them inside the class or online or offline, whatever it is. if the teacher is not giving them, going according to the old traditions, then the students will not take interest in the class, and always there'll be a problem in the class. Indiscipline will also there. So that is why the teachers, what I feel also, and everybody will agree, that the teachers of present era, they should give it to the students. If you are giving to the students, sir already some many a times have told that, see, they will love that teacher and they will love that subject even, when the teacher is giving them. Even that teacher is the quietest one, doesn't shout in the class, but there'll be pin drop silence in the class, and the subject will always be the favorite subject of all the students. Thank you, Chandrakala ma'am. We'll come up to Jaswinder sir. Again, in the second round, you have heard everyone, first of all, your expert advice, and then how did it came into your mind? And being a Punjabi, even and coming to mind, we have, very difficulty in Hindi grammar and everything. You came into your mind to come with a Sanskrit language lab.
Chandok sir, before I get onto the Sanskrit part, I'll just take it up from what you said. I was actually planning to talk about that. Is a teacher need not be very smart. A teacher needs to be very loving. Very important. Children do well in those subjects whose teachers they love. Take up your own self. Why did you excel in an X subject? Because you were very, very comfortable with the X teacher. And that is what a teacher needs to be. Understand, gone are those days that the teacher has to teach. Teacher has to felicitate. Teacher has to make them feel comfortable. Teacher has to, one very important, allow the students to express. Language can be music the music can be language of expression. Art can be language of expression. Writing can be a language of expression. Elocution, speech, poems, anything, any form, even a dance can be language of expression. Let a child express. If a child is able to express, then they have got a lot more space within themselves to learn more. See, there's such a lot. Unless I give out what I know, I will not be able to take in. So let them express in whatever language they want to. Listen to them. Like most of the principles that we have said, give them a year. Give them a year and you will be amazed at those kids, at how much they want. The only and the biggest problem is they have such a lot to talk about, but nobody to listen to them, not even their parents. That is why, amongst themselves, they talk such a lot, because the peer group, they listen to each other. And that is what is important. We need to become their friends, their partners in progress. Chanakya once said, who is a teacher? The teacher is a person who lets the learner know that I know as much as you know, let's learn together. So you have to give your ears, be with them, be patient. All that a teacher needs to do is listen, and then you will know what the child wants. So that's one thing I would say when it comes to teacher. Talking about Sanskrit, okay, there's a long story. Even before NEP 2020 was framed, I was instructed by people higher up there, start working on Sanskrit. Believe me, मैंने बहुत मार खाई है संस्कृत के सब्जेक्ट के लिए. It was compulsory in a school and I couldn't do anything. But when I realized, when we were asked to develop it, we started working with people who are PhD in Sanskrit, and we started working with those people. I am in Gujarat, and you have these Rishi Munis, the Jain Munis. If you want to become a Jain Muni, the first thing is that you should be able to understand, speak, and read Sanskrit. So I got those people who actually said that at a certain age, if you're able to, acquire a language in a beautiful way, how do you do that? And we started working on that. And to my surprise, it's a beautiful language. They say Sanskrit grammar is very difficult. No. The only language which has got a singular, a double, and a plural, right? Okay, the only language where you can frame a sentence the way you want. I always give this example. If I have to say my name is Jaswinder, in Sanskrit it is Mama Nama Jaswindaraha. But if I say Jaswinder Mama Nama, that is correct. Nama Mama Jaswinder, that is also correct. You put up the words anyway, it works. So Sanskrit is a beautiful language which works on the the zeros and one. Okay, the on and the off, and that is what technology is based on. Why do they say that if you want to do coding, you should acquire or learn Sanskrit? Because that makes you think logical. If I have to say, if you say Chandok ji, talk, या बात करना, बात को भी अगर ब आता है तो वो क्यों है? There's a reason why you have that in Sanskrit. So everything is organized in a very, very systematic manner. And that's what we say is we all should acquire this language. It is not कि north की language है, south की नहीं है, south की language है, east की नहीं है, nothing of that sort. But there's such a lot of hidden knowledge, hidden information about what has happened, because India was a land of Gyanis, right? We had the first library, first university in the world, and all majority of that was in Sanskrit. If the Germans can come and read that, shame on us. We should do it. So I'm very happy that NEP 2020 says that the cultural language should be Sanskrit. It is not to saffronize. Please understand, there's nothing of that sort. It is to understand our culture, which is more important than the science of today. You know what they're saying is, instead of teaching your child to earn more, teach him to live better, teach him to love more, teach him to see, there's a science of minimalization. Kitna kama ke kya karoge? If you can live in this much, why don't you teach your child how to live a loving life, a peaceful life? And that is what it is, because after certain amount of money, all money is only zeros. So this is what our language is doing. So I would suggest that we all start listening to, I don't know why, if they're promoting Sanskrit, why can't they have a radio station in Sanskrit? Because you have to listen to it. I've always been telling you, acquire languages through listening, right? And the major part is we are able to acquire other languages because we listen to that. So what we have done in this, we have made a lot of listening part, and then we make them speak, we make them compare, we give them Pictionary. So you have a word which is in English, Hindi, and then Sanskrit, and then we make them do it multiple times and communicative. And it is beautiful. Believe me, Sanskrit is so well. And I now want to love my teacher. I don't know whether teacher is still there or not, who taught me Sanskrit, but bahut maar khai. I don't want the kids today to be in that trouble. So that is why the reason is, but we were instructed by people up there that Sanskrit is going to be important, and we did not know it's going to be a part of NEP 2020. So it took us 4 years to develop that, and we are happy that we have done it. We are the first company to have come up with a proper Sanskrit language lab. So that's how it is.
So, sir, you're working up with English, Sanskrit,
Hindi. Now we're going to, French is coming up, and then a lot of Indian languages. So Tamil is one that I'm going to work on. There's Bengali that we're working on. Punjabi, of course, I have to work. Gujarati, I have to work. Hindi, we're working. And then slowly we'll go on to the other languages. Because you see, if you pick up the way of how a language should be acquired, multiple languages should not be a problem. Because technology is always there. But you need to understand from a native speaker or from a young child, how did he acquire that mother tongue? All languages should be acquired the way you acquired your mother tongue. You don't have to go through the grammar or the systematic thing. You just get exposed and exposed and exposed and get a platform to speak. Whether you make mistakes or not doesn't matter. If I'm trying to speak somebody else's language and I make mistakes, it is not something that I have to be worried about. I should be proud that even though I'm making mistakes, I'm able to communicate. And one day I'll not make mistakes. So that's how it is. So multiple languages on the way. Yes, it takes time, but definitely we're working on it.
So you're working with the government schools also and KVs also.
Yeah, we're working with 570 KVs, and KVs were the first way. Let me tell you, we were told by the KV people that you have to come up with Sanskrit, and then they said they gave me 1100 KVs to work with. So it's all Haryana, the entire government, but it is not just the government. We as parents should also encourage students to listen to more languages. There's no harm. You see, हम हनुमान चालीसा सुनते हैं ना, ठीक है? वो किसमें है? या गायत्री का देखते हैं. So every day morning my wife puts, she's from south, she's a Gujarati Tamil.
So Gujarati.
हाँ जी मैम.
वो गुजराती साउथ कहाँ से हो गया? वो वेस्ट ऑफ इंडिया.
नहीं वो गुजराती है, रेज्ड इन चेन्नई मैम.
वेरी गुड.
मेरे को पहले 2 प्यार के शब्द तमिल में, फिर सारे डंडे तमिल में मिलते हैं और मैं समझ नहीं पाता. ही इज हैप्पी, आई एम हैप्पी. मुझे समझ नहीं आता, वो बोल लेती है. बट व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज शी पिक्स अप साउथ के जब वो चैनल्स लगाती है तो साउथ में जितने भी श्लोक है सारे संस्कृत में है मैम.
करेक्ट.
राइट. सो एंड व्हेन यू लिसन टू देम एंड संस्कृत इज सो सूदिंग, आई थिंक वी ऑल शुड गिव इट अ ट्राई. सो दैट्स हाउ आई वुड सम इट अप.
Congratulations, sir.
आप तो स्पेनिश का भी प्रॉमिस कर रहे थे.
मैम मैंने आपको फ्रेंच कहा था, फ्रेंच आ रहा है, फ्रेंच के बाद स्पेनिश है.
स्पेनिश नेक्स्ट ईयर तक आएगा.
नेक्स्ट ईयर तक आएगा. फ्रेंच इस ईयर में आ जाएगा मैम. बिकॉज क्या है कि इस साल मैम जून जुलाई तक आ जाना चाहिए। मैंने आपको
Good.
कहा था ना कि बिकॉज वी वर्किंग वी गॉट इट डन, लेकिन जो बंदा था वो फ्रांस चले गया वापस बिकॉज ऑफ द कोविड, एंड वी वांट द प्रॉपर नेटिव accent. I can't have an Indian speaking French to teach, so it will get diluted. So that's why we're getting onto all that. So that's in progress, man.
Amazing, sir. Wonderful you're doing for the education fraternity, and so many schools are getting benefited. All the best to you, sir.
Thank you,
And
sir.
you're doing a wonderful job. Coming up to the last part of the show, which is, many people know, but everybody doesn't know that before parting, you have to sing 2 lines, and all the doctors will sing at first, because the first doctor is Hemlata ma'am. She's first on the poster, also creative also. Then we'll come up to Chandrakala ma'am. You know it very well, ma'am. The last episode also you sung.
Yes, I know that.
Ma'am, and in regional Kannada, if you sing, it will be a pleasure.
Yes, I'll sing 2 lines. Challidaru malligeya, challidaru malligeya, Banava sevitu challidaru malligeya. This is about a flower, which is the seasonal flower right now. I've sung about it. So.
Amazing, man. Wonderful.
Yeah, though we didn't understand, but the tune was great.
Voice is also good.
Yes,
Voice is
was
also good.
Yeah.
Nita ma'am, I'm coming to you also, ma'am. Don't worry, ma'am. Chandrakala ma'am, next your choice. You are also doctor, ma'am. Dr. Chandrakala Mishra. You rectified me.
Okay. Here I'm going to sing, which normally I love to sing when I'm alone. The song very close to my heart. अजीब दास्तां है ये, कहाँ शुरू कहाँ खत्म, ये मंजिलें हैं कौन सी, ना समझ मुबारक उन्हें कि वो किसी के नूर हो गए, किसी के इतने पास है, दूर हो गए, अजीब दास्तां है ये।
Oh, whose chance? Jyoti ma'am.
So nice, ma'am.
Very good, ma'am. Chandrakala ma'am.
Actually, I wanted to sing one Punjabi song, but I can't recollect anything right now.
Ma'am, Punjabi is welcome because हम तो सुन ही नहीं पाते.
Yeah, because we are talking about languages, and I thought, but I think right now I can't recollect anything. But
Long Gavacha, ma'am.
Yeah.
or maybe I can, if it is
Try
being
that.
edited, we don't include it as a part of YouTube of
We will give you
this thing.
company,
I
ma'am.
would just sing with the YouTube, yeah, because I don't know. I think I don't know singing is.
Ma'am, nobody knows singing over here, ma'am. Everybody who comes over here says
Yeah.
that we don't know singing, but they turn up to be a very good singer. As already I've declared, I'm talking to the
Okay,
people
I'll
of-
sing one thing. I'll take, because it is evening time. Okay, so I think I'll sing with the YouTube only. I think this is, I can say, Shukr kara tere data, tera shukr kara. Shukr kara tere data, tera shukr kara. दिन रात में तेरा शुक्र करा, दिन रात में तेरा शुक्र करा तेरे दाता, तेरा शुक्र करा. Thank you.
Wonderful, ma'am.
And you
Thank
can sing outside bathroom also now.
Yeah, no, she's excellent.
She's excellent.
Excellent.
No, wonderful. She had, sung. She's thanking to the God for everything.
Yes.
We all should. Shobha ma'am. Ma'am, now you need to be there in the regional language, Bengali, if you can speak some.
Oh,
sing
is she
something.
Bengali, ma'am? Yeah. কেমন আছে, ma'am? খুব ভালো.
খুব ভালো আছি বাংলা গান যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে
ekla chalo.
Ma'am, you're on mute, ma'am. You're on mute.
Ekla cholo, ekla
Oh, sorry,
cholo,
sorry.
ekla cholo, ekla cholo,
একলা
ekla
চলো
cholo.
একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো রে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে। Thank you.
Ma'am, the same song was sung by Shikha ma'am, Shikha Banerjee ma'am from Jaipuriya. And the
I
same
see.
song she's, yeah, the same song was sung. It is of Mahatma Gandhi, I think. The song is from something like that.
It's Robin
Beautiful.
Sangeet. It's by Tagore. It's a
Tagore
Tagore
Gandhi,
song.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is
yeah.
actually keep walking, you keep going, you don't
Without
worry
giving
about it.
up.
And
Ma'am,
the whole
Yes,
world will
yes.
join you.
such a wonderful voice you have, ma'am. Another, we have hunted up your talent. One more talent I have hunted, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Ma'am, Shobha ma'am, I'm talking up with the people of Indian Idol that we should have one season for the educationist only, where only the
Oh,
educationist
yes.
will and probably you will be there till finale, ma'am, for sure. Multi-talented, multi-talented. Neeta ma'am.
की शान.
Yeah.
अच्छा, मैं एक अंतरा गाऊंगी, दूसरा अंतरा सब लोग ज्वाइन करेंगे. मैं बीच में से शुरू कर रही हूँ, गाने को शुरू से नहीं ले रही. मैं अपनी फेवरेट लाइन से शुरू कर रही हूँ सॉन्ग. माँ का दिल बन के कभी सीने से लग जाता है तू, और कभी नन्ही सी बेटी बन के याद आता है तू, जितना याद आता है उतना मुझको तड़पाता है तू, तुझ पे दिल
कुर्बान,
तू ही मेरी आरज़ू, तू ही मेरी आबरू, तू ही मेरी
जान,
ऐ मेरी प्यारी
वरे वतन,
मेरे बिछड़े चमन, तुझ पे
Great, ma'am. Great.
I'm feeling goosebumps right now.
हाँ, goosebumps आ ही जाते हैं.
आ जाते हैं.
ये song ही ऐसा है. So nice. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so
Wonderful
much.
listening to all the ladies.
अब आप जेंटलमैन से सुनेंगे, दो जेंटलमैन.
मैम, मैं तो गाता नहीं, ये गाते हैं.
अरे गाते हैं आप तो
मैम,
बंगला भी गाते हैं, गुजराती
वो
भी
मैं तो
गाते हैं,
थोड़ा बोल लेता मैम.
पंजाबी भी गाते हैं, और पंजाबी में तो हम ज्वाइन.
पंजाबी मेरे को आती नहीं मैम.
ओह, हमारी जाती नहीं.
Anything in Gujarati, sir? Sir, you can sing in Gujarati.
गुजराती में 2 लाइन, 1 लाइन कर देता हूँ. मैं गाने के तो नहीं कहूँगा, मैं कुछ में बताऊंगा. एक इसमें ये है, हूँ क्या कहूँ छू आपनी हा होवी જોઈએ, હું ક્યાં કહું છું આપની હા હોવી જોઈએ, તમે ના કહો છો એમાં भी व्यथा હોવી જોઈએ. I don't know, Chandrakala ma'am being in Bombay would understand that. Yes, कह रहे हैं कि मैं कहाँ कह रहा हूँ कि आप मेरे इस प्रपोजिशन को हाँ कह दीजिए, बट ना कहने भी थोड़ी नजाकत दे दीजिए तो मुझे तो सुकून मिल जाए. So that's a little bit of Gujarati that I could say. But I was, हाँ जी ma'am.
I can read Gujarati, I can speak Gujarati
Great,
because
great.
my friends were there from childhood. So
बहुत सारी વાત છે મેમ.
I good.
મારી ગુજરાતી મારા વાઇફની ગુજરાતીથી વધારે સારી છે, એન્ડ એ ભલે ગુજરાતી છે પણ હું એનાથી વધારે સારી ગુજરાતી બોલી શકું છું. So that is the whole point.
हमारी गुजराती मैंने बदू
हो ही नहीं सकता.
मैम, मैं आपको सच के, वो तमिल में बोलती है, मैं गुजराती में बोलता हूँ, और ये ऐसे चलता रहता है मैम. And because I've been in the language industry, I keep picking up on words and vocabulary. And she says, "तू मास्टर बनता रहता, ऑफिस में भी मास्टर है, घर पे भी मास्टर मत बना कर." So that's the thing. I've been a teacher all my life. I started as.
अच्छा, संदोख साहब, चूंकि आप मॉडरेटर है, इसलिए आपने हमने सबसे बहुत सुन लिया. अब आप हो जाइए पैनलिस्ट और हमें मॉडरेटर. अब आपको 3 गाने सुनाने, एक के बदले.
Everybody will run away, man.
We are ready to run away.
मौका ही नहीं है.
Okay. I'll sing 2 lines. नाम गुम जाएगा, चेहरा ये बदल जाएगा, मेरी आवाज ही पहचान है, घर याद रहे. Thank you.
Nice.
ये हुआ
nice.
एक.
नहीं
अब
मैम.
दूसरा.
Ma'am, I had to take every episode, ma'am.
तो
That is-
हमने कहा हमारे एपिसोड में तो आप आज ही आए.
Ma'am, एक पे एक, ma'am. Everybody will solve one paper and I have to solve 3
अरे
papers.
आपको एडिट करने की फुल ऑप्शन है, आप एक ही रिकॉर्ड करें.
No,
सुना
it's
दो
okay,
ऑफ द रिकॉर्ड.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. It's okay. One is sufficient, ma'am. One is sufficient. Next time when you're calling, I'll again sing, ma'am. I'll keep in my mind again. Right, ma'am. Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so
everybody.
much.
So we'll
Thank you
end
so
with
much.
the Sanskrit
Thank you, one and
shloka.
all.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Sanskrit
सर्वे
slok.
भवन्तु
Thank you.
सुखिनः,
Thank you,
सर्वे
sir.
सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, माँ कश्चित् दुर्भाग् भवेत्. सबका भला करो भगवान, सब पर कृपा करो भगवान, सबका सब विधि हो कल्याण. ओम शांति शांति.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti.
मैम अपने
Thank-
जो पंजाबी में वो कहते हैं ना, सरबत का भला हो. That is it.
Sarbat da bala.
Ah.
Sarbat da bala.
So
Thank you
for the
so
other
much, Nita
teachers,
ma'am.
for just
Thank
a
you so
minute,
much.
sir.
Yeah,
So just
sir,
a minute. For the other principals, you know what? When we
Thank
have
you,
to
thank you,
thank
one
God,
and all.
we say, God, thank you for taking care of me, but also take care of everybody. So that's what the whole thing is. So with that note, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jaswinder sir, Nita ma'am, Jyoti ma'am,
Thank you
Chandrakala
so
ma'am,
much.
Shobha
Nice
Das.
meeting you
Thank
all.
you.
Had a
Thank you,
nice
sir.
time.
Thank you, everybody.
I hope you all enjoyed. Meet to see you in the next,
Definitely we do
the next
enjoy.
episode.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope to see you in the next
everyone.
episode.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.